All right, let's talk about the Saga of Frenzy. Now, this isn't your typical fantasy story with just swords and spells. No, this is a war fought with ideas, with philosophy itself. And to really get it, we have to start with the cosmic conflict that drives absolutely everything.
So, the entire story is built on this weaponized duality. Think of it like two opposing forces. First, you've got the gold. This is that deep human need to leave a mark, right? The hunger for fame, for ambition, for a legacy that lasts forever. It's like building this beautiful cage of permanence. But then, pushing against it, you have the verdant. That's the universe itself, the indifferent, chaotic earth that just doesn't care about your victories. It just consumes everything. Your greatest triumph, your legendary name. In the end, it all just becomes, as the story puts it, rich soil for the grass to grow. Kind of bleak, huh?
So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, it's not about picking a side, gold versus verdant. The real truth, the core of this whole world, is putting them together. It's understanding that life is that paradox. It's a magnificent doomed dance upon a grave. I mean, what a line, right? It means you go for it, you have ambition, but you do it knowing deep down that none of it lasts forever.
Okay, so in the middle of this huge cosmic duel, who's our hero? Who's the one standing at the center of it all? You might be expecting some stoic warrior, right? Nope. It's someone way more subversive. It's a jester. A fool who's literally waging war on the very idea of meaning.
And his whole philosophy has this incredible name, Willinar Karmathal, which basically means will fool. And if that sounds a bit like Nietzsche's will to power, you're spot on. But it's a total flip. See, a normal hero would use their will to force order onto the world. The jester? He uses his will to laugh at how impossible order is in the first place. His power doesn't come from control. It comes from just diving headfirst into chaos. And get this, his arsenal is just insane. We're not talking about magic swords here. His weapons are actual philosophical concepts. He has active laughter, described as jagged like cracking ice, that just shatters any kind of seriousness. He uses runes of destruction to literally peel back reality, this veil of Maya, and show the raw chaos underneath. And then there's the void mirror. This thing is wild. It basically reflects the universe's own indifference back at his enemies. Imagine being a grand hero and suddenly being forced to see that the cosmos couldn't care less about your destiny. Devastating.
All right, let's get into the nuts and bolts. How does this universe actually work? What are the rules of existence? Well, you're not going to believe this, but the entire metaphysical engine of this world runs on 19th century German philosophy. I'm not kidding. It's called the Fichtean engine, and it's a pretty simple three-step dance that defines everyone. Step 1, the self, or the Ich, just declares its existence. It says, I am. Simple enough. Step 2, the world, the not I, pushes back. It provides resistance. And step 3 is where the magic happens. In that struggle, the self figures out who it is by pushing back against the world. You define yourself by what you're up against. So this is where the jester's real power comes from. He has what's called an absolute itch. Think about that. He doesn't need a crown, a title, a backstory, none of it. He exists for one reason and one reason only, because he wills it. That makes him fundamentally unshakable. How do you defeat someone whose very existence is an act of pure will?
But here's the catch. A will like that can't just float in a void, right? It needs something to test itself against. That's where the Anstoß comes in. It literally means the check or the pushback. It's the resistance the world throws at you. And it's crucial. I mean, if you never have a wall to push against, how would you ever know how strong you are? You need that resistance to define yourself. And what's so cool is how the story shows there are different kinds of resistance. It's not always a sword fight. You've got the hollow Anstoß from the Puppet King. He doesn't fight the jester. He offers him nothing, stagnation, apathy, which is its own kind of prison. Then you have the venomous Anstoß from characters called the tarantulas. Their weapon is pure resentment and envy, just trying to poison him and drag him down to their level. All of this resistance, all these enemies, it really brings us to the heart of the conflict. The jester's main opponents aren't just generic bad guys. They're actually walking, talking philosophies. They represent the different answers you could give to the question, what do you do in a meaningless world? They're basically a whole spectrum of nihilism. And you can see here nihilism isn't just one thing. You've got the Jester's version, which is active and, believe it or not, liberating. He tears down old fake meanings to make room for play. Then you have the Red Judge. His nihilism is also active, but it's totally destructive. His goal? Burn it all to zero, no rebuilding. And then there's the Puppet King, whose nihilism is completely passive. It's a tired, stagnant feeling that just wants the peace of the cemetery.
Let's talk about the Red Judge for a second, because he is terrifying. He is the answer to that scary question. What happens if you get rid of all the laws, all the meaning, but you don't replace it with anything? You get the inferno of nihilism. Just a fire that burns and burns and burns for no reason at all. It's pure, pointless destruction. And then, on the complete other end, you have the Puppet King. This isn't fire and rage. This is the nihilism that comes from being just so tired. It's a deep, soul-crushing weariness that doesn't want to fight anymore. It just wants everything to end, to see that final sunset. And its primary weapon is envy. It tears down anyone who still has the will to try.
Okay, so we've got cosmic indifference, we've got philosophical villains. What is the Jester's endgame here? What is he even fighting for? It's not land, it's not a title, it's something much bigger. It's a very, very specific kind of freedom.
He's fighting for what the saga calls the sovereignty of the fool. And this completely flips our idea of freedom on its head. See, it's not about sitting on a throne and telling people what to do. Real freedom, according to the Jester, is an internal state. It's the ability to stare right into the void, to see the doomed, absurd nature of everything, and still choose to dance, to play anyway.
And really, that's the final battle of the whole story. It's not a physical fight. It's a duel of ideas. On one side, you have the Jester's sovereignty of the fool, freedom through play, through always changing and becoming. On the other side, the Puppet King's sovereignty of the grave, freedom through just stopping, giving up your will, becoming an object, and finding the peace of the cemetery. It's the choice between joyful struggle and quiet oblivion.
There's a line that just perfectly sums up the Jester's whole deal. It's this realization that you are nothing more than a flea on the back of a wolf. You're tiny, you're insignificant in the grand scheme of things. The wolf, the universe, doesn't even know you're there. And the whole point is choosing to play anyway. That's it. That's the whole philosophy in a nutshell. So, in the end, that's the question the saga leaves you with. And it's a big one. It really makes you rethink what power even is. Is true freedom about conquering the world? About bending it to your will? Or is it something internal? Is it about conquering yourself and learning how to dance on the grave of your own ambitions? That's the question beating at the very heart of the Saga of Frenzy.